Okay, for this particular section, all right, we are going to cover another portion of the security component. Okay, and we want to define properly the term authorization. Now, usually, all right, authentication is carried out first. Okay, but after the authentication is carried out, right, authorization is required. All right. So what does it mean? Well, in short, basically, it covers two areas. Firstly, the user type and their rights, sometimes also called their privileges, which is what are they allowed to do. Now, if we think about the user type, of course, there are many systems, and every system define user differently, or they group user differently. But typically, we can think of it as the administrators or the root users, which can do everything. All right, no restriction at all. Then you have some restriction, such as the power user, the normal users. All right, so they have some restriction to different degree, and you probably have the so-called anonymous or guest user, right, which most of the time have very little privileges or very little rights. Okay, so hopefully they are only allowed very limited access, okay, view or certain files. Okay, they are probably not allowed to change anything. Okay, but very little access. So different user type, all right, can be placed as a different level, right, of users privileges. Then we have to start to ask, all right, what can all these users do? Right, and there's a lot of questions to ask. Right, so I just list a few sample over here. Like for instance, all right, how am I going to group this user? So what category of users or their role? So beside in levels, for instance, like their power user or their guest or their normal user, what category are they in? Are they dealing with databases? Are they in the inventory system? All right. Are they in the human resource system? All right. So a lot of classification goes into the user, all right, roles based on the user's role, their job, all right, what tasks they need to perform. Okay, and what function is given to them? All right, what function is given to them? What features are they allowed? Okay, can they edit? Can they delete? Can they add records? Okay, maybe certain low-level user can only view; they can't make any changes. All right. So, what is hidden from them? What are they not allowed to do, or view, or see, or even access? Right. So what is their areas that they are restricted from? Okay. So how can you identify the user? Right. Okay. So of course, ID, that will be an easy one. You can group user together, all right, into a group of let's say a group of users, okay, and then give certain privileges to that group, all right. So hopefully you'll be able to identify them. But is there a way to identify who are from the finance department? Okay, who are from the, let's say, the production department, or who are from the engineering department? So is there a way to identify them? Okay, and are the user themselves allowed to change role? So that's interesting, because certain system allow the user to change role. All right. then if the user are allowed to change role, okay, if the answer is yes, user are allowed to change role, then how do you guard all these changes and make sure that they don't change a role that is beyond what is required to do their job? Right? Or they are not allowed to escalate their role to something that is too powerful. All right. So there is still a lot more question to ask when you are creating a good authorization list, right, for your organization or for your users. All right, there's still a lot of questions to be asked. So authorization is a lot more complex, all right, if you compare it with authentication. Okay, because once you allow them into the system, where are they allowed to go? What are they allowed to touch? What are they allowed to do? Right? And the final control that you have, right, is what we call the granularity. Right? So what level can your system actually handle? Okay, so that is what authorization is actually about.